In the winter gales of the North Atlantic, the sea is a cruel and unpredictable battlefield. Waves tower like cliffs, winds howl through steel rigging, and somewhere between the whitecaps and the waves, men fight, not with guns and bombs, but with steel hulls, net cutters, and sheer stubbornness. This is the story of the Third Cod War. The final and fiercest chapter in a decades-long struggle between a tiny island nation, Iceland, and one of the world's great naval powers, the United Kingdom, over something deceptively simple: fish. By the mid-1970s, the so-called Cod Wars were already the stuff of political legend. Iceland had already expanded its exclusive fishing zone twice, first to 12 nautical miles in 1958, then to 50 miles in 1972. Both times Britain resisted. Both times Iceland prevailed. But Iceland's cod stocks, the lifeblood of its economy, were under threat from overfishing. In July 1975, Reykjavik announced it would extend its exclusion zone again.
May I have your attention, please?
This time to 200 nautical miles from its shores. To Iceland, this was survival. To Britain, it was an act of aggression. The Third Cod War officially began on November 16th, 1975. And from the start, it was a battle fought at close quarters. The Icelandic Coast Guard deployed just 4 patrol vessels. Odin, Thor, Tyr, and Aegir, and 2 armed trawlers. Britain countered with 22 Royal Navy frigates, 7 supply ships, and an armada of defense tugs. And unlike the earlier Cod Wars, this one would see more ramming, more damage, and more diplomatic brinkmanship than ever before. 55 ramming incidents in total. One of the earliest flashpoints came on December 11th, 1975. The Icelandic gunboat Thor, commanded by Helgi Halvardsson, was ordered to investigate 3 British Ministry of Agriculture vessels, Lloydsman, Star Aquarius, and Star Polaris, sheltering from a gale inside Iceland's territorial waters. According to Iceland's account, when Thor ordered them to leave, one tug veered and rammed her port side. Another followed suit. Thor, badly damaged and close to sinking, fired a warning shot. Then, a live round into the bow of Star Aquarius. The British claimed Thor was the aggressor. The truth, like the sea itself, remains murky. But the collision sent shockwaves through NATO headquarters. By early 1976, the confrontations had grown more desperate. In January 1976, HMS Andromeda collided with Thor, leaving a hole in the Icelandic hull. In February, Iceland took the most serious step in all the Cod Wars, breaking diplomatic relations with the UK. Reykjavik was now threatening to close the NATO base at Keflavik, a key Cold War choke point in the GIUK gap. For NATO, this tiny fish war had just become a geopolitical crisis. But the Cod War was also fought in moments of grit and cunning. Skipper Tom Watson of the Fleetwood trawler Wire Victory recalled how Icelandic patrol ship Odin repeatedly harassed his vessel. Watson had a plan. He towed a World War II-era fog buoy behind his trawler, claiming, over radio, that it was wired to send an electric shock back up any net-cutting cable. When Odin moved in, Watson's crew released a heavy rope across her path, fouling the gunboat's propellers. Odin was dead in the water, towed back to Reykjavik in humiliation. That incident never made the press. Diplomats feared it would derail ongoing talks. But in the fishing communities of Hull and Grimsby, it was a tale told with pride. The most dramatic clash came on May 6, 1976. The Icelandic patrol ship Tyr, commanded by Gudmundur Kjernestedt, was trying to cut the nets of the trawler Carlisle. HMS Falmouth rammed Tyr at over 22 knots, nearly capsizing her. Damaged and limping in a single screw, Tyr still managed to finish her mission, cutting Carlisle's nets before escaping under the threat of overwhelming British firepower. By late spring, both nations were exhausted. Britain's frigates were battered. HMS Yarmouth had its bow torn off. HMS Diomede carried a 40-foot gash, and HMS Eastbourne was deemed unfit for sea. Iceland's tiny fleet had been rammed, shot at, and worked to the limits. NATO mediators pushed for a settlement. On June 1, 1976, the war ended. Britain recognized Iceland's 200-mile limit in exchange for permission to keep 24 trawlers inside the zone, catching no more than 30,000 tons. The Third Cod War had no grand naval battles, no massive loss of life, just one confirmed fatality: an Icelandic engineer electrocuted while repairing a gear after a collision. But its consequences were profound. The British fishing industry, already in decline, was shattered. Hull, Grimsby, and Fleetwood saw thousands of jobs vanish. For Iceland, it was a national victory. proof that even a small nation could defend its resources against a giant. The lessons? In international politics, size isn't everything. Iceland had no army, just a handful of patrol ships, and the will to use them. It wielded its strategic position in the Cold War as leverage, showing that in asymmetric disputes, commitment to the cause can outweigh sheer military might. The Cod Wars also reshaped global maritime law. The 200-mile exclusive economic zone Iceland fought for is now the international standard under the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea. And so, the Third Cod War faded into history, not with a peace treaty, but with the slow realization on both sides that the sea's bounty was not infinite, and that even the fiercest battles for fish are in the end battles for survival. From the steel decks of trawlers to the smoky hulls of NATO, from the storm-lashed fjords to the ports of England, the Cod Wars remind us that in the great theater of the sea, even the smallest stage can host the grandest drama.